Test, test. Hello? Test, test. Hello? Okay, good. Test, test. Hello? Okay, good. Test. Oh.
Hi, all.
Hello.
Lucy, I've got 2 more weeks. It's for a great cause. It was for Relay for Life. It was Shave a Linden Bald event. I was on the team with Oz and Grumpity and Patch and Ecom. We did. Our team got shaved. Yeah, I don't think my husband would have been for that. I I think he would step in at that point. That or I'd become a moonlamber for a very long period of time. Thank you. I feel fast.
Howdy, folks. Well, I guess we might as well go ahead and get started. Let's see, not a lot of new news this week.
Is the
See,
sound back,
one
guys?
update for Bakes on Mesh that I should let you know about. We were talking about extending the tattoo to have some additional channels for the new Bake channels. It turns out there's a problem with that, which is that if you feed a wearable with newly added channels to a viewer that doesn't know about those channels, the viewer gets very unhappy. So, to try to avoid making lots of existing viewers unhappy, we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of extending the tattoo, what we're going to do is create a new wearable type. And that new wearable type will know about all the big channels. And then the old tattoos will continue to have the same channels that they've had all along. The old viewers should handle that better. If they see a reference to a wearable type they've never heard of, they just won't try to load it. So they won't be able to handle it properly, but either. So that should be a little more, little better behavior for everybody. So we need a new name for the new wearable type. Thinking about calling it a universal wearable, but if anybody has spiffy names, feel free to toss them out. We'll see. Let's see. So that's based on Mesh. So the good news with doing it with a new wearable is you get better behavior with older viewers, and maybe it makes a little more sense to have a new wearable type. The downside, of course, is it takes more work. There's back-end work, inventory service, simulator, as well as some viewer changes. So Anchor's working on that stuff currently, or will be soon. Let's see. Anchor here now. I'm not seeing him right now.
How is that going to work with layering? Is it going to layer under tattoos? Is it going to layer over
See, I
them?
don't know the status of the skirt bug. The speculation was that that was a baking service issue, but I'm not sure if there's a definitive call on that one.
Yeah,
Might, sorry, go ahead.
the new system layer you're making. How's that going to work with layering? Is it going to like layer on top of tattoos underneath?
That's what we're thinking about. Put it on top of tattoos and underneath clothing. Okay, so that's Bakes on Mesh. For Animesh, currently working on. I guess first I should say that the server work for Animesh is, we hope, done. That's in QA for like one remaining issue that needs to be verified. And once that happens, then we can start figuring out how to get staged out to RC and out on Agni. So hopefully not too distant future on the server side. On the viewer side, working on some kind of long-standing issues with getting the correct bounding boxes and LODs for avatars, and attachments, rigged attachments on avatar. Trying a new approach that should have better performance, but it involves some new plumbing. So I'm still working on the implementation for that. Let's see. So that is Animesh, I think, and I guess we're open for questions. Oh, this is the new method for calculating the bounding boxes for avatars. We're looking at a scheme that should allow us to get a more accurate bounding box in less time than the way we've been doing it, and so just getting started on the implementation for that. Let's see. So we've got a few different questions. If this works right, it will give us better bounding boxes for avatars in general. Animeshes have an avatar under the hood, so that they would also be included. Um, Basically, anything that has rigged meshes. We're hoping we can keep that more accurate with less work. So we'll see how that goes. Um, let's see. So. Yeah, and then there's also the question then of how we handle lotting in the sense that right now the Animesh is getting the same kind of radius boost that avatars get, which isn't really the intended behavior. It's just the way it shakes out because it's sharing some of the same code. So we're want to take a look at that as well. Why do avatars get a radius boost? I don't know. Historical reasons. I think the assumption is that people are more concerned with seeing avatars detailed than other parts of the scene. But I don't know. The decision was made a long time ago. Removing non-rigged mesh asset sizes from the rigged mesh bounding boxes. That's the plan. Get it out of the bounding box, or at least if the bounding box is wrong, it's not something we're actually using for the calculations. Yeah, Beck, I think we do have a JIRA about the diameter versus radius. That's probably part of it. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's one of yours. Can wear a 64-meter cube on your head. Um, what about wearing a 64-meter cube on your head? Oh, get like a 256-meter avatar bounding box. Yeah, that sounds like a bug then. Let's see. Will this bounding box change help fix the agent size issue, or at least let the appearance editor have more correct height measurement? No, we're not doing anything with agent size right now, and that's the kind of thing that would be hard to address without breaking lots of existing stuff. So it's relatively unlikely that we'd be doing a deep dive on that. At least not unless we were kind of undertaking a fairly big project to reconsider that sort of thing. Let's see what else. Might get a fixed avatar lotting. We hope so. So we plan to unify rigged mesh and animesh lotting behavior. Yep, that's what we're shooting for. Let's see. There's a question a ways back about scripting support for bakes on mesh. No final decision on that. That's not what we're working on right now. We may or may not do anything for scripting before the first pass of bakes on mesh goes out. But the current work is for this new wearable type, so that's taking the time. let's see, I'm still scrolling back. With the left arm and foot slots, are there going to be new texture slots or will it be a flagging system? Yeah, those are new texture slots, so if you want something to be left arm or foot, then you would set the baked ID accordingly. Alright, going forward again to see what I missed forward. Yeah, we're not really looking at the height calculations as such. The Mostly we're trying to get bounding boxes fixed so that uh, you know, the LEDs get computed in a consistent way. But there are clearly a lot of quirks with it right now. You know, you can see what the bounding boxes look like if you do what is it, develop, render metadata bounding boxes, and you can see lots of strangely colored blocks around all of your stuff. And some of them are reasonable, and some of them are doing screwy stuff that isn't really what you want. And you throw all that stuff in the hopper, and it produces some kind of mixed behavior at best. Oh, hey, Anchor. Welcome aboard. We were just talking a little bit about the new wearable type stuff for Bake
Oh,
Super
nice.
Mesh.
Um,
Uh, Sorry, go
yeah,
ahead.
so I mean, yeah, so I just wanted to give an update on what I had been doing. So I added the 5 new bake channels, and then as you said, we had our internal meeting and we talked about adding a new variable type for all those new 5 different bake channels. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing the next couple of weeks, just changing stuff and and creating this new variable type. Yeah, back to you.
Okay, thanks. Anchor, there's also a question about the black skirt bug. Do you know what's going on with that yet, or is there a fix in the works?
So Aditi is running the new baking service. I think that's what's like causing it. I haven't looked into it yet, but I will. I mean, yeah, I'll go back and look at it now. I'm not sure
That's
what's
on
going on
the
yet.
bug list for Bake Super
Yeah,
Mesh
yeah,
currently.
it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I see some discussion on LODs and bounding boxes. There's a few different things going on. There's the avatar boost that uh, Animeshes are getting, but a lot of the problems are caused by we're using the bounding box for the static mesh, even if it's actually a rigged mesh, and so you wind up with these boxes that may be a long way away from the actual rendered location of the object and strange things. Then so what are people up to these days? Is there still testing going on with Animesh, or basically just kind of waiting for it to ship at this point? Yep, definitely seen your bugs, Lucia. What is the odd rotation bug? Oh yeah, yeah. That's That's also a thing. I think Graham may be taking a look at that, although he's got a bunch of other things on his plate, so haven't haven't heard how that's going right now. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, the 200 Li default for Animesh is gone. The best description of how the cost works now is in a forum post. We should get into a little more persistent documentation. There's a little bit of coverage in the wiki, but there's more details, I think, in the forum post. But the short summary is that you've got a base cost of 15 for an Animesh link set. That's for the streaming cost, and then additional streaming cost based on the number of more triangles you have. It's complex LOD, and then the story for the other LODs is a bit more. Um, and that's all for calculating the streaming cost. The land impact is the max of the streaming cost and some other calculations, so it's possible for the cost to actually be determined from something else. But that's the link to the forum post that has the um, current formula.
I think we've gotten a little too used to all sorts of things being super cheap land impact wise. I think we forget the old days when we just
Yeah,
had prims.
yeah. Unfortunately, a lot of our existing formulas have significant problems, and we're in the process of trying to get those updated. But in the meantime, we have to come up with numbers for Animesh that you know reflect as best we can work out the real performance cost. Question about stress tests for low-end machines to see how much potential addition of oil bones into the scene affects lower-end CPUs. I mean, we did some performance testing. This was back in the Bento days when we were adding the bones. We did some performance testing on various machines. It's the cost really is more determined by how many rigged vertices you have more than just how many bones. If the bones are just sort of existing but nothing attached to them, then much overhead. Increase the Animesh attachment limit. We don't currently have any plans to change that for the first release of Animesh. As we've mentioned, there's some potential follow-on projects, that we may look at after the initial release goes out, and so various factors that go into the product might be reconsidered. In the future. I'm not saying never about anything, but we don't have any current plans. 'm not sure I understand the question about Arctan. Will avatars end up getting any sort of resource caps? You're thinking about something like the suggestion to have a maximum number of polys or something like that.
The land impact is the cap, isn't it?
But it doesn't apply to attachments, right? Attachments don't have a land impact.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Arctan itself is really just figuring out costs more effectively. It's not about exactly what the best enforcement mechanism is, but I expect that that's the sort of thing we'd be considering next once we have good data about the costs. $38. Yeah, there is a limit on number of attachments, which is the 38 number. Release date for Animesh? No, we don't have a definite release date yet. As I mentioned, we think we're pretty much done with the server side work, so hopefully we'll be able to get that out into RC on the main grid, relatively soon. On the viewer side, we've got this LED bounding box work, which is I think the behavior should be improved quite a bit, but there's definitely some stuff left to do for that, and we have a couple of other active JIRAs. So the time horizon for the viewer is going to be a little farther out, but again, we don't have a definite date. In terms of arc calculation gaming, the arc calculation for Animesh is, and this should be out in the current project viewer, the arc calculation for Animesh is now related to the streaming cost calculation for Animesh. So it shouldn't be subject to quite the same kinds of issues with, scale-based distortions and that sort of thing. But it's uh, it's not necessarily the last word in exactly how it's going to get calculated, but it is going through a different computation now that's more based on the streaming formula. And Arc does apply for animeshes in the case that you have an animesh attachment, and that you can also see Arc displays for animeshes in world, and those also will be considered for jelly dolls, I think. There's a question about click-through objects. I'm not sure what that's in reference to. Could you give more details on what you're looking for there?
Basically, a way to, when you have an object in world, say a prim mist, and you have a chair sitting under that mist, you cannot click on the way to be able to click through that mist to click on the chair without having it linked and scripted for past touches and all that. Just be able to set it to where that object does not interact with the mouse. It's click through.
Okay, so you're basically defining some objects as being just, ignore this object when you're trying to figure out what you're hitting on a click, and then you just get the next thing
Yeah,
down on the
it would allow
list.
things like you could have an overlay HUD that gives your screen information, but you'd be able to click through it to other HUDs. It would allow for things in world like prim mist to be used in areas where people want to sit on things. It has 100 different uses, but
Yeah, that seems like a good idea. I don't remember it
I
coming up
created a
before,
JIRA on it
but
today because I couldn't
yeah.
find a JIRA on it. But
Okay. But we'll take a look at that the next time. The next time we go through feature requests, we generally run through the list once a week and discuss.
Yeah,
some
actually, we talked about that one this week. I think that what we will probably end up doing for that is rather than make it something you can set with a script, just make it a property you can set when you're building from the viewer.
well, yeah, that was the idea. It's just the reason I gave the script example is there's already the past touches for the scripting, but this would be different. This would be just a feature you click on the building box to make
Right.
it.
That's the idea. I would like it to be true that properties that any built object has that are persistent regardless of unless something is actively changing them can all be set directly from the viewer rather than only providing a way to set them by running a script in them. Because that way leads to scripts that get put in just for the purpose of setting a property and then have no further use, right? So it would be nice to be able to edit all of those things directly from the viewer. All of them is something that will doubtless take a long
like
time.
the one that's essentially Phantom, but Collision interacts with it. I cannot remember the name of it ever, but there's a script you can set it to. It's basically Phantom, but it can be interacted with Collision. And there's no way to set that. Volume detect, yeah.
Right. And we're certainly not going to undo any of the things that you can only do with scripting. Those scripts those script properties will stay around. And there are lots of cases for object properties that fairly obviously you will want to frequently change, and therefore they should be scriptable because that's what scripting is for. But Um, things like this one, probably doesn't fit that that criteria.
Just thought I'd bring the idea here.
I don't think we have anything currently in the works for things like the nimble volumetric clouds. Might be a question for Ryder if he swings by at some point. Mirrored clouds. Oh, hey, Ryder. Hey, Ryder, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Cool. We had a couple of questions about EAP and rain and clouds and things.
All right. Can people repeat the questions? I can respond.
You mean you can't read our minds?
No, no.
Next year.
Yeah,
That comes with the
yeah,
upgrades.
that's only premiums. Let's see the time. Rain and okay, weather systems. Penny. Weather systems are not planned, nor are Graham would be. Nor are we going back to the actual clouds. There'll be shader effects. No plans for reflections. uh, to Roscoe. And the uh, Kira, what do you mean by the legacy cloud simulation? There is wind already. The sailors use it. Yes, the we are not going back to the fluid mechanics for clouds. And no, that simulation does not exist anymore.
And you're talking about simulation. You're talking
That's a
about.
little beyond the scope of. Well, go ahead.
Are you talking about how I don't know if it's still going, but I remember when I first came, they talked about how there was wind and it would affect flexi prims. Is that tied in?
If I push the speak button again.
Yes, and that still exists.
Why?
Yeah, the wind affecting flexi prims. I think it affects particles too. Um,
Yeah, it does.
that is still there. That's not going anywhere. Um, it it's really kind of outside the scope of EVE. Although it would be an interesting enhancement. Yeah, the sailing community would kill us if we did, Artem.
I don't think we're looking to encourage people to use more flexi prims in general, though, are we?
No, you cannot control this. There are no EAP parameters for dealing with wind.
Yeah, we were talking about mirrored clouds earlier. It generalizes, I think.
I will take a look at the Nimble link you sent me, but no, I don't think it's not part of it. Clouds have a mirror lining. Okay.
Any update on EAP in general? How far along
We
things are, when we might see stuff coming out, all that good stuff?
right. Things are actually moving along pretty well. We have a blocker on the back end that we're trying to get cleared. Once that's cleared, I'll have some simulators that will support settings to QA within hours. Yeah, type faster, Ryder. Um, and when QA gives that and the first the first project viewer the okay, we'll be able to have something in your hands.
Sounds very spiffy. Okay, looking at the question about size limits, 0 to the 10th, I think you're talking about the question about upload bigger res, bigger prims outside the 64 limit. I don't think we have any current plans to look at that. Again, don't rule things out forever, but it's not currently in the works. What are people typically shooting for when they want larger numbers? Are you trying to kind of do big builds in one chunk?
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot.
Yeah, that's exactly that.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially with like I
It's
said, with
not
the
that you
land
actually
prices
want
going
Godzillas or
down.
whatever.
Well, no, it's not we want Godzillas. We just want to be able to upload our work in. I mean, now that the price of land has gone down, getting a full sim has been really attractive. And as a sim builder and building a bunch of like sim surrounds and building towns and stuff, we can just do it all in Blender and then bring it in. But you got to chop it up into pieces and then try to put it back in world. It's such a pain in the butt to do that. And it's like, if we were an open sim, we could have just uploaded the whole thing in there. And they're like, well, it
Yeah.
is a pain. So, is there any way this could be a plan? You guys can think about it some more because with land prices going down and everybody buying it, you're going to see a lot more people wanting to bring in whole sims and stuff like that.
At the very least, being able to link farther apart than 64 meters would make it a lot easier to set things up.
It's also for things like sim surrounds. Right now, they're created by stacked sculpties they're megaprim sculpties stacked on top of each other that create the sim surround. If we could have mesh megaprims, essentially we could make mesh sim surrounds and get rid of the sculpty versions.
And can we even still get megaprims, short of finding some legacy ones that are floating around?
Nope, legacy.
No,
Uh,
I've been asking for that for a while.
yeah, so we have these old builders who are the only ones who can do these things, and that's kind of messed up.
They were like, yeah, griefers will grief regardless, and it doesn't matter. Like the whole argument about, oh, you can't make them big because griefers are grief. I've seen somebody res a tree and then crash a whole sim. So anything can be used for griefing. Even if you have to limit it to it's only the sim owner who can res them, or any kind of progress towards getting bigger prims, would be so grateful.
Oz, do you have any comment on this kind of building in the large discussion?
There are a lot of things we're thinking about in the longer term. None of that is on the short term roadmap, not on the this year roadmap. But in particular, we had a pretty good discussion recently about sim surrounds and whether there's a better way for us to tackle that problem. That is, create those effects without having to use some of the mechanisms that are used today.
Were you thinking more of like sculptable land off sim where you couldn't build anything but you could sculpt the terrain through the building tools, or what?
We haven't really gotten to specifics, just that the conversation started because we were doing one of our visits to somewhere in world, and we were impressed by the sim surrounds that they had, and that sort of started a conversation about wouldn't it be great if doing things like this was easier.
So sculpties definitely have their uses, but they also have their limitations, just like every other piece of tech in SL.
Yeah, the biggest issue with a Sculpty sim surround is your every single avatar on your sim is essentially inside the Sculpty, so that can cause some issues here and there.
Honestly, I've seen really good work with Sculpty sim surrounds, but you could do a lot more with mesh. It's just uh, there's less limitations that way.
Oh, there was a comment about the 5 meter bone limit. I think the latest project viewer has that backed out because it looks like we need to have a more complicated solution. The problem we're trying to prevent is encroachment issues where the displayed location of an Animesh is way off from where the object allegedly is, and causing consternation to people who aren't sure what's going on with stuff that seems to be somewhere that it isn't. But it sounds like just having a per joint limit is probably overly restrictive for larger objects. So that's actually one of the things that I'm hoping we'll be able to do a cleaner fix for once this new bounding box calculation stuff is done. Because if we actually have an accurate real-time bounding box for for a skeleton that has rigged content on it, whether that's an avatar or an Animesh, then we could do smarter constraints and constrain how far away the bounding box can be from object's root, rather than doing it on a per joint basis. So we'll see how that shakes out once this new scheme is working. You can upload your consciousness to the grid if you can keep it in within the limits of the key value pair system, I guess. Bug 216352. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to work on it yet, but it's been imported. It's on the pile. This is animations not rendering if they were stopped and started while host object is selected. adds them all selected but doesn't remove them. Okay. Yeah, it's probably not that hard to fix. It's just haven't had a chance to work on it yet. I see Big Rock people. What is the difference? Is one of them using the material system and one not?
One's sculpt, one's mesh.
Ah, yeah.
Well, it's obvious there is a big difference between the two because you can tell just by resing them. Res one on the ground, then res the other. One loads a hell of a lot faster than the other, so there is a difference. They're not exactly the same.
It may well not be true after the Arctan project is done that they will have the same land impact relationships that they have now.
Yeah, I mean when the cost calculations for mesh went into effect, there were a lot of the same discussions that we're having now about Animesh. Well, this thing that is exploiting our horrible formula is only 1 Li. Why isn't this other thing 1 Li? And it's a kind of a race to the bottom if you try to keep everything consistent with legacy bad formulas. We're always trying to make things more accurate rather than less. Degrees of success, but that's the goal.
So the goal is not technically to get rid of Sculpties.
The goal is not at all to get rid of Sculpties. The goal is to provide better feedback for people on what the real costs of things are.
But they're not Kyra. They've got a bad calculator for land impact. They're all just one instead of their real cost.
Yeah, but Sculpty is technically just a prim with the texture on it.
Yeah.
That's why they're only one.
Scrolling back a little ways, there's an Animesh question that I don't understand. If an Animesh is attached to the avatar, is it possible to rig bento mesh to sit over the Animesh but be attached to the avatar as bento mesh? I'm sorry, I'm not following. What are you trying to do exactly?
Okay, so for example, if the Animesh was like a dog like I'm wearing, but I wanted to wear a coat on the dog, so the coat would be bento mesh attached to the avatar, and the dog would be Animesh attached to the avatar.
Oh, okay. So I think the way you would attach a coat in that case would just be to add the coat to the dog's link set. It would basically be another prim in the
Okay, so
in the
so it's
dog.
only one attachment point, but you can have a multi,
Yeah.
a multi thing. Okay, all
Yeah,
right,
you
thank
can
you.
have a whole bunch of different mesh objects that are all part of the same Animesh link set, and they're all referencing the same skeleton. So if you want to
And
have
can
a
they have
a
different
coat
scripts?
for your
So they
dog
would
or whatever, they
so they would
can.
be
Yeah.
animated differently? Okay, so for instance, it could be an Animesh dog with an Animesh tail using different scripts.
Yeah, the tail could contain different animations and could drive them with a separate script.
Okay,
Whether or not you want to do it that way, you can also just drive
yeah.
all your animations from the root.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're talking about attachment points in two different senses. You can have one Animesh attached to your avatar at a time. So if you want to have a Animesh dog on your head or whatever, you can do that. But the Animeshes themselves don't support attachments the same way that avatars support attachments. So you can't put uh, uh, put a collar on the dog using a neck attachment point. Something similar with.
But if that collar was rigged for the neck of the dog and you linked it to the Animesh dog, it would go in place when the animation took effect, correct?
Yeah, that would be the way to do it.
And when it's all linked together, it's considered one Animesh, not each linked part a different Animesh.
Right, there's one skeleton associated with the whole link set, and all the rigged meshes in that link set are going to be tracking the same skeleton. Server code here 2 days ago. Let's see. There was an update to the there was an update to the Animesh simulator build. That was a merge we had pulled from the latest trunk code and another dirt sim that's going out before Animesh would be. I think the only functional change is that for the triangle count limits, we had been, we checked that for Animeshes. We checked that for res Animeshes, but we didn't check it for etches. Checking and it's not a big functional change, I don't think.
Galather, Animesh can only use the bento skeleton. You can't use a custom rig. You can move the bento skeleton bones around and create a custom rig, but you can't bring in your own rig.
Yeah, but I mean, at this point, the bento skeleton is just the skeleton, right? That's the set of joints that all avatars support and all Animeshes support. Medhu is, among other people, has done work with getting sort of the effect of a custom rig by repositioning the bones in the standard skeleton.
And it's worth
There's
noting
actually
that, it's worth noting that if the lab had to devise a custom rig system, we wouldn't be getting Animesh anytime soon.
And there's actually a great video, I think you did it, Medhu, showing how to take a custom skeleton and apply a bento skeleton to it. It's a great video. It uses a elephant's trunk, I believe.
That's not easy though. It's almost like I have to control that rig with another rig, though, basically.
Well, yeah, I think
But it
that's
is
what you did in the
possible.
video.
And the snake does that too. The snake is actually controlled by a completely different rig to hold everything together.
All right. Well, looks like we're about at time for this week. Next week, I'm not sure about next week. Often we have a company meeting. Yeah, it looks like we do have a company meeting next week at the same time. So we won't be meeting next week, and then we should be meeting the following weeks for the rest of the month. I'll update the wiki with the schedule, but I think that's how it's going to go. All right. Well, talk to you later. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Veer.
Thanks, Londons.
Think about it. Think about that size thing before you go. Remember, seriously.
I wonder if there's any jurors for that.
I don't know. I doubt it. I know I was supposed to write one, but I'm not good at writing JIRAs.
Lucy,
Size
what's
thing,
the
there's tons of JIRAs for it.
What's the cap, Lucy? I don't even know what the cap is.
I think it's 100,000 for Animesh.
It does seem kind of low.
I mean, does the cap actually even do anything? Can they just... If you go over the cap, you cut your mesh in two? Or am I misunderstanding how it works?
No, that's basically it. You go over the cap, you cut your mesh in two, and you just join it. It's for one single mesh object. The cap is 100,000.
Yeah, then there's no point in the cap whatsoever. If it's such an easy way to get around it, all you're doing is annoying people.
Actually, I thought it was per object, not... I don't think you could do that.
If it's per link set, then yeah, then okay, it's a useful cap.
Oh, the cap is for link
Link
set?
set.
Oh,
Okay. Well, it's still annoying people, so...
Yeah, that's becomes severely annoying.
Especially since it sounds like we're going to have to If you want accessories for your thing, people are going to have to link their thing to your thing.
Yeah, well, at least it's
Well,
better
you
than the
know,
20K limit they
100,000.
first said.
100,000 will give you 165 land impact.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I have some of my Animesh monsters that are well over 100,000, but we're talking highly detailed dragons
Yeah, but
and minotaurs. And,
Well, that's what I mean.
Want
There are
several
other applications.
165?
I mean, if someone wants to accept that land impact, then they should be able to. I mean, yeah, I believe 100,000 is a lot, but
Yeah, 100,000 is
that
a
doesn't
lot.
cover everything.
It's, well,
Yeah.
then you should use normal maps and stuff.
Well,
If I
it's
were
not
setting
just
a
avatars.
cap,
It's
it would be more like 200,000. You know, as a cap. You know?
well, it's not that the single avatar is 100,000, because what if your mesh has different states? It's like my monsters. It looks one way when it's healthy and alive. After you kill it, the mesh, there's two meshes. One disappears, the other appears, and it has a dead state where the rib cage is cut open, and those are linked. So,
Well, just do faces and transparencies and stuff without making a whole new mesh.
yeah, that's limiting.
It really is.
And let's face it, we're talking about avatars that really the most useful thing about this isn't going to be avatars. It's going to be resibles.
not
People
avatars,
coming
I guess.
up with unique things to do with pets and mounts and, I don't know, make an Animesh house
this-
or
Of an avatar itself. I mean, even if the most efficient creator, you went as efficient as possible, you're talking minimum 20K for the avatar. Throw a few clothing items on them, and now they're over.
Exactly.
yeah. It's,
Right, but
It's
don't make it naked. You know, if you
Well-
don't have the layers like that.
well, no, look at,
Well,
you
exactly.
make
You
a
have to
mannequin
develop
for your
around.
store. Your mannequin for your store where you sell mesh clothing. And then the Animesh mannequin, you put
back.
a jacket on it, a shirt on it, a pair of pants on it, a hat on it. You've blown your 100,000 limit.
Well, then you make more efficient content. I mean, 100,000 is generous, I think.
Well, just hair alone can be 30 to 50.
Trust me, any AAA game, you would not see 100,000 triangle
You're right.
NPC.
You're right, but
You
they
wouldn't
also don't have an NPC market. Okay.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, that
and then
you
you
should
got that
make
system
better.
for
You
maids
should
to make them
make
look
better
good.
content. You should just make better content. Use normal maps to get the details. Don't put the details in the geometry.
Well, I don't know. To me, it's in today's day and age too. You have to. It's almost like two worlds we're battling against at this time, because geometry's not the issue.
Well,
You know,
just-
it's like-
well, it is. It is in a way.
Not really. Not really. It's really the amount of textures that people want to go crazy with, and
Yeah.
texture size. That's where everything gets completely blown out. But when it comes to modeling and stuff like that, what really sells something is, things to be like real life, where you don't have all these sharp edges that you do with a low poly model.
This is not
So-
real life, though. It's. I mean, it's a game engine. It's not even a very good game engine. So
Well, I totally get what you're saying, but at the same time, too, as an
not-
artist, you
no.
want things to be.
if you were doing a model for a movie that was rendered on a render farm, 100,000.
That's not-
200,000. That's
Lots
fine,
game engines, even Second Life, as we can see, can handle millions of polygons. It's all about how you use them.
Right,
You
but
know?
you gotta have scenery. I mean, if that's yeah, sure. If you got your just your dragons on the sim and that's all that's on the sim, that's great. You know, blow it out with 100,000. But you've got environment.
If
Telling
I'm
you, no
making a
game,
game,
no game. If you were working for a game studio and you came up with
no,
100,000,
that's
you
total
submitted
bullshit, Joey.
a hundred
That's
thousand
total bullshit, Joey. If
polygon
I'm making a
NPC.
game and the dragon is my main boss character and I'm loading a scene that only has the dragon and
Yeah, if
you know
it's
the
your main
scenery
thing,
around
but
it,
if it's just an NPC or I mean even the
well, then that's a
the main
different kind
character
of and character.
and also they have
But you can't tell
boss
me there
character.
are not boss characters that are over 100K because there definitely are.
It's rare. It's very rare.
Oh, I don't know
And
about.
and Second Life is not those types of engines. I mean, we just barely get
Well,
materials.
it handles it pretty well considering what people are doing to it, you know.
And also, you've got a nice graphics card, I'm sure.
Okay. I mean,
What do you got? You got like probably 900 series.
I have a 1060 and I
Well,
had to get
there you
that.
go.
And
1060,
I paid $600 for that fucking 1060.
right. Well, that's they're like 300 now.
I think he bought it when they were doing the huge Bitcoin crunch,
Right.
and they all went up in price.
I didn't have a choice. I had to get my VR thing set up. So I needed the card.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I
see,
think
that's
the
Nathan
big
Drake.
problem.
That's the main character. They do spend some extra on the main character. They don't spend, extra on the NPCs.
See that's the big problem is we don't have a real good way of communicating to people that they shouldn't be putting boss character graphics on like a teacup. We need better communication somehow to get
Well, it's
the
also
little
driven by the
things.
customers.
Yeah. As I said, we need better
Well,
ways of
by the
communicating
creators.
that this
By
teacup
the creators.
has as many vectors as that dragon, and maybe they should go find a different teacup to buy.
If there was a way to accurately, and I don't know why there's not a way, but if there was a way to accurately calculate texture use, then we would have accurate representations in our scores and everything. But as it is, we do not, because even like Animesh, it's only calculating triangles, and that is not taking into account the the megabytes of data, hundreds of megabytes of data that's going to come in just from textures.
Yeah.
Which is,
Well, yeah, people
a
putting
mesh might be
a-
10 megabytes, but the textures will be 100, 200, 300, might even be a gig.
Somebody putting a 1024 texture on a ring on their finger.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
There needs to be better ways of handling that too. I don't. Honestly, I think
I could see the system calculating it itself and resizing the
Yeah.
texture to whatever it needs.
I absolutely agree with that. That's what needs to happen. They need to have, like, when you upload texture, they need to have several sizes of it in the system.
Kind of surprised they don't do that.
Yeah. And then you just, on the edit panel, you can just have it set to auto or let people manually select which texture size they want and make it so that's something that can be edited even when something is no mod, because the creators will set it to the
The only thing
highest
they do-
thing, and yeah.
Well, it could be set by distance. That's normally what games do. They have the progressive download. That's all they have. Where they just blur it.
Which is a good and bad thing, I
Right.
think they always try and, or people try and tout that as a bad part of Second Life, but
Well, they were.
it is bad
What's
because
bad?
the text don't get cached, but if they did, it wouldn't be too bad.
Progressive download they have with the JPEGs. But see, when it seems to me that when they made SL and up till now, they've been gearing everything towards transfer speeds.
Well, I mean, when you look at it, though, it's not really an issue. It's only an issue when people get all crazy. And I'm not even against, some of the things that people do. I mean, this kind of open world where you can make whatever you want.
And that's what's unique about SL. Well, there are other games that emulate it out there, but
Problem is you don't know what you're buying either.
Yeah, people need to see triangle counts. They need to see texture, resolution, and all that stuff. But I don't know why they don't.
Oh, I know Gal
you could
just
offer that in a viewer, and the normal customer wouldn't even look at it. Wouldn't even.
Should be
That's.
Here's a nice question. Gal just showed me this more info button on the edit window. I never knew that was there. This display value there, does that include textures?
No.
So that is just mesh. That's just vectors and things.
So the display cost does go up as you add textures and materials.
Right. And it's counting like materials, I think.
I don't think it.
And certain features like shine and things like that cost more.
I don't think it cares if you put a 512 or a 1024 on them.
No.
Oh, well, yeah, I haven't checked that.
Now, is that display value the same as ACI?
Don't think so.
I find that the display value looks to be similar in a lot of cases. Dang it, it's been a while since I looked at all of this the first time now.
There are different display values because you can get the display value by a script, and if you get it from Avatar, it does not match what the viewer sees either.
Well, it seems to at least be roughly what the ACI value is. I'd have to bust out a calculator to see if it was for sure. Okay, that's...
a few weeks ago, I got to watch an internal video. I'm not gonna. I got to see this, but it was really interesting, though. It was a video by Nix Linden, and I guess he was giving a presentation, and it was really kind of encouraging how they look at things that the lab actually does understand.
Does it have secret new things in it?
No, it was basically just kind of more of a talk about what they learned over the years, but pretty interesting to watch. Right, Nix. Actually put my faith in it's a little bit.
I think some sections of LL are definitely worth putting a little faith in. Other sections, not so much.
Well, I will say, we haven't made here in Second Life compared to Sansar. Because, well, part of it, I will grant, is the community. Because there's a stark difference between coming to a meeting here and going to a meeting over there. And one of those stark differences is that everyone over there is kissing LL ass. That's why they're there.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Well, I don't think that's hard to imagine. You can do so little over there. You have to be really enthused about the project to want to stay over there.
Oh, and they all are. They're all fucking drinking the Kool-Aid. If you say anything bad, like here at our meetings, I mean, people say all kinds of stuff. People are mad. We run businesses. These are
never.
But over there, if you are the one speaking badly or bringing up issues, you'll be casted out. Everybody will gang up on you.
Unbeliever.
There was a meeting before
this. What a
There was a
nightmare! Not like
there was a
somebody
meeting
has
before
done
this
that
one.
before menu.
No, I brought up the issue that I had a Linden tell me there are problems with their new animation function. Okay, but I don't know what the fucking problem is. I don't know how. Here we're trying to make the fucking shit work, but I don't know what the bugs are, and I don't know how to find the bugs or who knows about the bugs. Is somebody working on a fucking bug? I don't know because we don't have an issue tracker over. So I bring this up. And you know what people are saying in the meeting? Oh, I don't understand why we need that.
Oh, Lord.
What the fuck?
Really?
How
They're
can they
basically
have-
saying they don't need a Jira?
Yeah, basically, that's what they're saying in the meeting.
How can they
This
not
is
have a
how
Jira
much
given the
space
state of that
they're
frickin'
at.
project?
I would have looked at the person and said, have you been in the 21st century at all?
Yeah, I'm
Hello?
kind of surprised they didn't do
And
that
the
first.
Lindens love these two, too, because they made a game out of this barely functioning app.
So wait, they don't want Jiras themselves, or the specific Jira?
No, they have internal Jiras, they just won't show us. Okay? So if I get a new animation function and I can spend the next fucking week working on it and find all the fucking bugs that they already fucking know about. That's the kind of shit that pisses me off over them. You know? That they're wasting people's fucking time when they have the info. They just don't
Yeah,
want to
that
give
sounds
it
like
out.
Sansar.
That's ridiculous. Although our,
Well, it's the lab going, oh, if we open up the Jira, people will yell at us. It's like they're
Well,
all
it's also-
they do everything to avoid being yelled at.
They don't want to admit exactly how broken it is right now. It's supposed to be something almost ready for release, and they don't want to admit it's totally broken.
Oh my God, that is the Sansar is nowhere near ready for release. This thing's not even in alpha. It's early development. We're talking about major primary features are just finally being added. It's a fucking joke. You can't even really call it a platform.
but
Technically,
they
it is
have
released
zippers.
already. I mean, technically, it's
They
released.
have animations before avatars.
We don't have animations yet.
The zippers do.
I can make an NPC or not even an NPC. Can't fucking move a rigged object. Yeah, I can make a character with a custom skeleton move around, but that's it. I can only play. Well, now we got an animation function, so I can play more than one animation. But I can't upload an FBX with more than one animation. So, like 2006 all over again. But that's, I sit there and I wonder why it is the way it is over there. I think it's all because of the community. They're such ass kissers. They don't put any pressure on a lab.
I don't know. Honestly,
Well, if they think they're doing the right thing, then
it sounds like it's just because it's so dang early. They don't have all the infrastructure to really. It's too early for feedback. Really, they're still setting up the skeletons of their system.
Well, they shouldn't.
No, I totally agree with that, which is why they never should have opened it to the public yet. It was not ready.
Had everything they've done with the Avatar, they've had to walk back on. Every single thing, from everything with the VR and how that is set up, everything about it, they've had to walk back on.
It's been 3 years.
Every
since
major decision they made, they had to walk back on with the Avatar.
It's been 3 years since they announced it, and they said they were working on it before that. So I don't know how they've gotten to only where they are in 3 years.
I believe
find
High
it's a little bit
Fidelity,
different.
and they use Bitcoin for their economy, don't they?
Oh,
It's
not big.
It's not big.
They have their own coin.
Or
And actually, I have a few thousand. I can go to the bank right now and get money for free there.
You buying it?
Yeah. You should get it just for the hell of it. You know? But now that's interesting over there. Because, when I first heard Philip talk about hi-fi, I was like, oh, there's no the way the infrastructure works and else. I just thought he was eating too many shrooms or something.
Do they have a way of securing content yet?
Not yet.
No, there's the problem.
But when you look at it outside of that one issue,
well, that's a huge issue.
Yes, it is. But outside of that, it is pretty freaking amazing what they have done there. I mean, it is starting to reach like kind of Second Life level of functionality.
They won't have an economy if they don't secure the content, though.
Yeah, I can't. Then I'm gonna go to one of these meetings, and I'm gonna tell Philip straight to his face, Philip, if you just put all of our shit on a asset server, we could make you money right now. Because that's the only thing stopping me from creating there. Because I went through it all. I have my own little server running on my computer and everything. And yeah, if it's running on your computer, it can pull all the assets right from your computer. They don't have to be on a website.
Right.
But then you have to run it through your computer.
Right, then everybody has your stuff. Just pull it off your computer.
Well, I see it as a model that could work for lots of different people. I mean, the whole freaking porn industry could use it. And they wouldn't have to worry about anything. It's run on their own servers.
Yeah, but if I can't make something and anybody can just take it, that's...
Well, if your business model isn't built on that, it's built on selling a service or whatever, then you don't care about the content.
That's not going to build an economy, though. Someone's got to make content, and no one's going to make content if it's not secure.
Well, Hi-Fi's business model in the end is going to be on content too, so they're going to have to find a way to secure this content, or else their own business model isn't. But I, watching Philip all these years, I'm pretty fucking amazed at what he's done with Hi-Fi. Considering, I mean, and functionality as far as like fun to use and stuff, it blows Sansar away like 10 times over. It just isn't as beautiful. So in that sense, Philip can figure out the last couple of key things here. Hi-Fi is ready to go. Although it's not made for fucking creators, it's made for coders. It's a hell of a job trying to figure out how to do something. Well, maybe not for you, Joey, but for me it is. But Philip has said the same thing too, that their next focus needs to be on making the interface more suitable to artists. Well, here's my one comparison between the two, Hi-Fi and Sansar, that I love to throw out there. Over in Hi-Fi, I don't have to ask Philip for animation. Right? Philip already knows we need animation. In world building, I don't know, a lot of people keep talking about this, but I don't see that.
Yeah, I don't know. You'd have to have essentially a Blender or a 3ds Max or something built into your platform. That doesn't sound very logical to me. In-world building gets you prims.
Right. And you can have a primitive system. That's fine.
Oh, please, don't even start with Landmark. A voxel system was a nice idea, and they completely failed in execution. All on top of the fact that they sold it as something that it was never destined to be when they killed the related MMO that it was supposed to go with.
And don't get me wrong, I loved the early years of Second Life and prim building. I love it. I loved it. Okay, you will never catch me doing that again ever in my life. Okay, because that's how it was back then. We don't need that anymore.
It works for building some stuff. I mean, getting a good. Of course, yeah. As I walk by, that's when the neighbor wants to start mowing his lawn. Sound on. Sorry about that. The prints work for some things sometimes, even nowadays. It's a good way to build houses, at least get the good structure and scaling in, and then exporting it into Blender and, jazzing it up.
Yeah, I'm still convinced there's still places for each little step in the Linden Lab tech tree. There's still uses for everything, even plain old
I agree.
prims.
But in the marketplace, that the prim building is not going to get you much. That's,
Well, it doesn't matter. It's just for the fun of it. Not
I don't
all of
I don't
Second Life
mind
is
having a
business.
prim
It's
system though,
fun.
because I mean every system needs a primitive system, and they use those primitives as containers for like different things within engines. And it's nice if you just need a cube that you can throw down and cover an area.
I don't know. I think prims are cool.
Prims are fun. You're right. Building with prims is a lot of fun. But it is primitive, pun intended.
It's yeah, but
God
it's
damn it.
just pun intended or no.
Oh yeah, definitely it was intended.
I don't know. I have fun building with prims, and you can get a lot done with it. Like I don't know. Like I built the replica of the RuPaul's Drag Race stage, and I did that majority out of prims that was converted into mesh later on. But it was just like if I was to do that in Blender, I think I'd have been totally frustrated trying to figure out or how to line things up. I don't know. Prims are cool. It's better to build in world than export out than trying to build in the system and then trying to import it back in. At least that's me.
I don't know. I think it's different. I started differently in Second Life because I started with animation. So for me, I never had a mindset that I could only create here. That same animation I would make here, I could bring into all kinds of different places, including Unity. So I never looked at it like I was walled off, but I see it from the rest of the community, and that's why I pushed Mesh so much when it came out, because I knew that if people learned Mesh, then they could create for any platform, not just Second Life.
Yeah, it
And
might
then
be
if you made the
useful if
mistake of insulting or point out a fault in Avatar, goodness, will Gaia's Knights jump on you? Particularly a certain snake over there. Glare.
Oh, I don't jump on people.
Lies and slander!
I just say my piece.
Say your piece, my ass. I said something in there, and you were all of me leading the charge. Like, totally. Wish I could remember it all the way, but I can't. All I know is that you were there, and you were like the main one poking at it. I'm like, dude, the hell's your wrong?
Yeah,
I find that hard to believe. Medhu doesn't have an opinion about anything.
Oh no, he was there. He was like the captain of the White Knights, and I was talking about something in there. Oh, and I don't. Damn, I wish my curse these medications.
I don't have a reputation, do I?
You want the truth? Or
Yeah, you got quite a reputation.
I think there's a lot of opinionated people in these meetings.
No.
There's going to be some headbutting.
Well, that's the thing. At these meetings, people can take it. Over there, it's like they're little fucking babies. Jesus Christ. Even the Lindens, they're the worst. You know?
The Lindens don't like criticism?
Well, you know, what's crazy about it is why the fuck do they think we're there? Do all those creators over there think we're there to go pat them on the ass? You know, pat the Lindens on the ass or go kiss them? You know, we're not there for that. We're there to evaluate their fucking engine and criticize it, you know? And they're all just like cheering every time something basic comes around.
What's basic to us could be exciting for them. Always keep.
You know, the funny thing is, you know me. I said that out loud. That they're all a bunch of ass kissers.
I bet that rolled over well.
And they're having a contest over there now too. And somehow I got roped into it.
What sort of contest?
Well, they just put out this new animation function, so I'm guessing they want everybody to play around with it. But the contest is basically, it's kind of dumb. They want to make they want everyone to make a labyrinth or some kind of puzzle like game. Now, I've always hated mazes in any kind of 3D game, and I especially hate fucking mazes in VR. I mean, who seriously wants to be a rat in a maze? I don't think, you know, that's not how I find spending my time pleasant. Yeah. But for whatever reason, the lab thinks that mazes are awesome, so they want us all to make mazes or some kind of thing that takes you from point A to point B, and there's a goal involved.
Make a jumping game.
We're not making
people love those.
Except you can't jump.
Right. But I hate these contests because it's like $5,000 for the winner, and second place is like not money; it's some prize.
It's a subscription for more.
Yeah,
shows.
yeah, a subscription. Yeah.
Which that nobody wants.
But with even like a $5,000 prize, like the only reason I'm in this contest is because Ignaria wants to do it. If it weren't for her, I would not even consider it. But $5,000 ain't enough to fucking entice me. To do a month's worth of work, you want me to, and get $5,000? Big fucking deal. You know?
And USD or Samsung currency?
No, in USD.
USD. Yeah, $5,000 for a
What
month.
the hell, you rich bastard?
Yeah.
That's a lot of
I'm
money.
not rich. I just, if I did
$5,000
that,
a
I mean, just take. I wouldn't make any more money if I did that. You know? But
Well,
it would
yeah,
take
but
me
if you
away from
take
my
that-
normal job.
Take that same a month worth of work and put it into, you know, a Second Life
A real product,
here,
right.
or doing something else, and you'll earn a lot more than $5,000.
Right, exactly.
Maybe not immediately, but over the long haul for sure.
Rich
And if you
bastard.
team up with somebody, now you're only getting half of, or a third of $5,000.
That's
know?
still more grand than you had before you started.
Right.
I can make just as much money without being in the contest, though. And it has all these lower level artists trying to compete. And they're all going to make an experience, and only one of them's going to win.
Right.
Yesterday we went to the community meetup, and everybody's like, "Oh, Medhu, you're in the contest, you're in the contest," and I'm like, "Who the fuck told you that?" Yeah, so
And
I
the
guess they
thing
heard from
is,
somebody.
Linden Labs gets the benefit out of it because all these new experiences are made.
Right.
That they can tout, hey, we have these 100 different experiences, all using this new feature. Come on, look. And they only had to pay $5,000 to one person.
Right.
Right.
That's why I don't like it.
Right. Well, that's
Well,
exactly
at
the
least you got
point
the
from the
experience
lab's
to do it.
point of view.
Well, the other part too is we can't even, there's so much limited functionality. We can't sell these experiences. So the only reason we're making these things lab.
Well, you're selling it for 5,000.
Well, yeah, I wish I could just unload it then and not have to deal with it after that.
It's basically doing the lab's testing for them.
Right.
Well, that's what the whole thing is, anyway. It's a paying you if you win.
The documentation for coding too is just horrendous.
It is.
There are no example scripts. And
there is.
when I asked about it, one of the other coders got all over me because, we don't need example scripts.
There's a few.
It must be nice to be able to sit there and read an API and not like need an example to get started.
Well, every function that gets added, it's not like this is the way it works everywhere. No, it's there's always something unique about it to that platform. So to not show an example of everything that it does, I mean, obviously when they fucking tested it, they had an example, right? So where the fuck is that?
No, there are a few examples.
Yeah, here or there. There's not like a one
They're in
spot where you can
they're
go find them all.
They're deep in the directory of Samsung directory.
And actually, it's basically one creator that's making basically all the examples that are out there for. I couldn't even begin with my limited coding. I couldn't even begin to want to learn coding over there because it would be impossible.
Yeah, I took one look at it and said no way.
Kelly's the head guy over there. Yeah.
It's
Isn't it based on C?
C sharp.
C sharp.
Sharp.
Okay.
But isn't Unity in C sharp too?
Yeah, but I mean they add their own, they add their own stuff too.
Well, of course they do.
Yeah, but the workflow for even scripting is horrendous. I mean, since you can't run the script in edit mode,
right?
You're talking about a 10-minute process to iterate.
Wait. You can't run the script in edit mode?
No, you can't. You have to put the script. You have to write the script outside of the platform first. It's and then save it, upload it, put it in the object, configure it because there might be some global variables or something to configure, and then save the whole experience,
and then build it.
Yeah, build it, save it, and then
look at what it did,
and then exit, and then re-enter as just a normal user, and then check to see if it works. And if it doesn't work, you go through the whole process again.
Exactly.
Oh, I got a period out of place. Let me spend this half hour changing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I missed a. You can check for syntax errors and stuff like that, but there's I was off by one, here or.
Hi, Benny.
Or I had a math error in this rotation.
Yeah. I mean, there's always things that you just.
Oh my god!
And you basically have to develop it in like Visual Studio and try and emulate the same.
Yeah, well, you can't. There's no emulation. You can't run it in
you
Visual
can't.
Studio because it doesn't. It won't work. So
Really?
you could, no, it won't. It won't run.
Well,
It'll-
because of the
it'll
3D
syntax
aspects,
check it.
Visual
Yeah.
Studio won't. Visual.
Right.
It's like trying to script LSL in Visual Studio. Yeah, you can syntax check, but you can't check the 3D dimensions.
Right.
Well, Bagnaria, Bagnaria, she used to be an Apple coder in 1985 or 88, something like that. Okay, some of the core systems inside the iPhone she personally wrote. Okay, that are still used today. So she was trying to learn it, and oh my God, she was having so many problems, and
Yeah.
the documentation is just horrible.
Right. I mean, we'll say one thing for LSL. Besides being just a very limited language, the documentation's awesome.
Right. Yeah, there are tons of examples too.
Yeah. I mean, every.
I found
function has a
something
good-
really cool this week. The LSL PY Optimizer online. I don't know if anybody's seen that.
Never heard of it.
Probably been around for a while, but I just found it this week.
You got a link?
Optimizes your code for reducing
What do you
memory.
mean, optimize?
Oh.
Oh, you can put in a script and it will take all your variables and just like variable A, B, C, D, E, and just rewrite the whole thing to be memory optimized.
Really?
That's nuts.
Interesting.
Let me see what it does here.
And I tested it on my NPC monsters, and it actually worked.
Does it tell you what it's done? Or
Yeah.
Does it like
you
just
put your script in?
I mean, does it tell you what it's changed?
It shows you your old script and the new output. But
You trusted it that much?
hey,
Well,
I
you
was just
tested it
testing.
to see, but-
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I tested it here on the beta grid, so I wasn't going to crash my sim.
Well, script won't. I don't think you can crash the sim with a script anyway.
Someone was thinking about writing a LSL to C# converter. I don't know how you would do that.
Oh, you could do that. Yeah.
Yeah, that wouldn't be
what would that
Wouldn't you want that
accomplish?
You could
people
write-
taking scripts from Linden
Right.
code and going over to Sensor.
You couldn't.
Mm.
Yeah, I guess you could. I don't know what the memory constraints are over there or anything else. But...
I have no clue.
Oh, it
I don't
changes
te-
quite a bit.
Yeah, it does. It really crunches it down. It's almost unreadable to figure out what it's doing.
So, yeah, I don't like that.
Well, it looks like something
But what about your
you'd
comment?
Yeah. Well, it looks like, honestly, if it were me using this
Nah,
thing,
nobody
I
cares.
would have my script that was written my way, and then the final step would be to shoot it through here, and yeah, and never work on that script ever. Just
Yeah,
what
right.
goes in the box. But
That's what goes in the finished product to make it
yep.
run less memory.
I guess if you're coding for yourself, you don't need comments, but I better get comments if you're fucking coding for me, though.
Well, if I'm coding for you,
Oh, never
I'd
thought of
give
that.
you
I code for the people I never put
yeah.
comments in.
If I'm giving you a full perm script, I'd be giving you my version of it, and then when you're done tweaking it, you send it through the script thing.
I figure people that have hired me to code, they don't know how to code anyway, so
Right.
they're not going to look at it.
No, I'm going to be looking at it, that's for sure.
I mean, they might look at it, but yeah.
But there's a certain kind of beauty, though, in a comment.
Oh,
I don't comment.
yeah, I don't get it. No,
and it
Uh,
confuses the hell out of me if I
kind of mess with all those comments.
I
You don't
come
even
back
comment
2
for
years later.
yourself?
Every
No.
now and then I'll put a little thing in, yeah. But very rarely, yeah. Very rarely will I put a comment in. If it's like a really big project, I might, like when I'm defining global variables, I might put a comment after those, a little comment about what they are. But
Right.
a lot of times I don't even do that.
I recently updated a project that I did 2 years ago, and coming back and looking at the scripts, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking?
Yep.
That's yeah.
I always about you.
Not me. I need the comments.
Yeah, I often use comments to keep track of like variables going in and out of parse scripts. It's like, okay, is the UUID the second or third item on this list that just got passed?
Oh yeah, for a list, I will. If it's like a strided list, I will comment the format.
I love strided lists and I hate them at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I wish there was something better.
Well, it's the one problem I have with a strided list. It's pulling element 1, 3, 5, 7, starting with the first element and pulling every other element. I can never seem to do that correctly because I can't get.
Here, I'll show you a little trick that I do. So what I do is define what each thing is, each element is. Okay, let's say you've got a list of I don't know, some kind of data for your players, and then so make constants like like that, and then and then at the end of it, like say put a stride, and then when you're like iterating through the list, you'll do like say something like that. So then, no matter how your list is then formatted, all you have to do, you could just change those constants.
Yeah.
And you could even shove some new things in. Actually, that should have started with 0 and then 1. But you can shove in, if you want to, I need some kind of armor value. Okay, so that's no problem. Now, I just add that in. And then, put that as 3, change the stride to 3, and now everything still works.
Oh, I see what you're doing there.
So then you've, actually I messed up on that.
Yeah, but that's essentially what I'm doing with my lists. It's
so you would
my
just use
strided
that,
list.
and then, so when you want to pull out health, it's like you're like, say I was your like player number in the list, then I plus health is the health of that player or whatever.
Wouldn't it be like I times the player number plus the health?
Well, if you, if you might have to go like I times stride.
Yeah, I times stride, then plus health.
Well, no, what you do is you list find list, and then you look for the player's number.
Look for the UUID or something, and then add. Yeah, and then add.
So search for their name, and then
plus 2 is health. Yeah.
Okay, that's clever.
No, always use UIDs. Don't use names. Oh God, I've ran into a few that were
changing.
Yes. Oh, that's going to be interesting when they add second names again.
Well, names will be changing. So they did add the name to key. That's something they did now.
Did they?
Yeah,
yes.
When did this happen?
just like a week ago.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
God!
really soon.
I've been like banging my head against some new toys, and it just never worked because you had to access an
Oh,
outside server to do it, and it's like this is
Yep.
stupid.
They used. Yep. Now you can do it right in. There's
Okay.
two different functions. There's like just name to key, and then there's like request name to key. So if they're on the sim, then name to key works.
if they're
they're not
not,
on
then
the sim,
request.
then you have to request it, and then it comes back on the data server.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, the name to key databases aren't needed anymore. But yeah, with the started list, I always do it that way. So then, even later, you can insert things into the stride, and you don't have to go back through code and oh, I've got a list plus one here and
Damn
list
it.
plus two over there, and
I have to. I'm getting ready to release my MMO quest system, and I use strided lists like crazy in it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean, strided lists, they suck because it's the only way to do it, to store, large amounts of data. I mean, I wish, if there was a two-dimensional array, that'd be awesome.
Oh, yeah, if we had arrays, then we'd have a whole bunch of other stuff.
Right. But
I'd love an array. Oh.
I would too. I would too. I mean, I don't know why they don't add it.
Why did they never have it in the first place?
Very first, yeah, I know. Why didn't they not?
I assume they think the scripts were not big enough to hold that much data for that to be relevant.
Well, lists. Well, then they added the lists.
Yeah, lists and arrays, there's not much difference.
Not much different, yeah. You can't do any sort of structuring of data besides with, and try to do like two-dimensional or even three-dimensional kinds of
Just a
structures.
just a two-dimensional array would be fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind actually a three.
An n-dimensional array, that you're starting to get into heavier memory there.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. But two. I'd be happy with two.
And I bet you there's JIRAs on it all over the place.
There is. They never add. Whenever they've lately I think in the past 3 years, they've not added any really good things to that language. They add a few things here and there. They've
Experience.
Yeah, they've added experience.
But not everybody uses experience.
Well, you have to be a premium account in order to have an experience, and then you can only have one experience.
Yeah, they've added a lot of stuff to get object details. It's like that's kind of like the catch-all. I know. It's like, oh, we'll just throw that in.
Oh yeah, they need something, they'll throw it in here.
Yeah, and the get environment, they've thrown a lot of new stuff in there. But
I'm really disappointed that they're
good, like just language features. Would be nice. Like arrays and just some way to, global
I wish they would
variables
be
that are global to the object, not the script.
Oh
awesome.
gods, object level variables.
Yeah.
Or how about variables that you could actually define the name of the variable in the script?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't do that. Variable variables.
Dynamic variables.
Yeah, variable variables. They other languages have that. I never use it. Although I guess I do use it in PHP, but.
Well, it'd be used for, say you're creating a HUD with lines of quests, quest 1, quest 2, quest 3. If you had a dynamic variable, you wouldn't have to set how many quests. It could just kick them out.
Actually, so you say you got that quest thing done?
Oh yeah, I'm just doing the documentation, and I'm going to do some videos on it.
I'd like to see it. So I got. sort of my
Do-
position.
I'm doing a little cleanup because when I first wrote it, it was for the Unity system. But as I got further into it, I realized I don't have to limit it to that. So I did a few rewrites. So
how do you do the setup of the quest?
it's all a note card system.
Note cards.
Where
Okay,
you set a quest, you give it a quest number, and then it has a whole bunch of details for that quest. And the object you pick the quest from up, either at an NPC or a quest board, has that on a note card. And where you turn the quest in has the same information on the note card. So it knows, okay, you're turning this quest in. It reads it. Okay, this is what I give you. This is the next quest in the step. This is the experience you get, so on and so forth.
Sounds similar to mine. I use quest names instead of numbers, but
Well, no, it can be anything. It's just a delineation of what this is. I use numbers.
I should call it a quest ID. You know, it can be,
Mine is QID. That's
yeah. Well, actually, I'll send you
Here,
one of
I
my
can
note
get-
cards. You can see.
I don't know. I like. I would like to see more of you guys over there, though, because I feel like.
What, in Sansar?
You know, even though I bash Sansar, yeah. Even though I
No.
bash it, the graphics are amazing.
Eh,
And if, I just kind of feel like if we got a better creator community over there, we could actually make things happen.
Well, then they need to fix it.
Well, what do you need?
Oh, I cannot script the way they do. It has
Oh,
to run
that,
in edit.
yeah, of
It
course.
has to run in edit mode. That
Right.
is a deal breaker for me because I am not going to. It takes a good 5 minutes to save, build, exit, re-enter,
So you
and
have
then
later on.
and then go back and just. I mean, you don't understand how many times a script gets changed.
I understand. We've developed full games before. You know?
I mean,
Yeah, I would hate
you
that.
save the
It's-
script, save the script, you test it. Oh, I forgot that one little thing. Boom, you test, you change it, you save it, done. And it's just, there's no
Even-
5 minute iteration time.
We're in this contest, so Bagnaria is doing all the coding and everything, and it's like I'm looking at all the work that the both of us have to do to make this all happen, and I'm just like, this is not worth it, man. And just watching her go back and forth with the code is nutty. But the thing is, a lot of the shit would not work this way if we had creators in there that are willing to stay how it is
Until it works,
instead
I'm
of
not going to
trying
be
to
in.
piss the
I got-
labs out.
I mean, if it's going to take me a month to make something there, or a week to do it here, I'll do it here, and I can sell it. And there's more people. There's people actually buy it here. So why would I go there when there's 10 people over there that might buy it?
Either one, Lucy, creators or developers. I mean, aren't we the same?
I mean,
one and the same.
the community there is small.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably get more traffic on my sim than that whole place gets.
Mm-hmm. Oh God.
Joey, I passed you a sample of my quest note card.
Oh, okay, cool. Kind of interesting. Very close to mine. It's like, well,
Why
Oh,
would you
sorry
think
for
it's
the
gonna do it this
names
way?
of the quests, but I forgot I was in a bad mood that day when I made up that one.
yeah, okay, here's one. I think.
Especially the coders over there. I mean, there's some new coders coming in, but none of them have any kind of game experience, or very few of them do. Not
Yeah,
the
I mean,
two
I
top
would-
ones.
I
don't
would
have-
like to go over there and make a game just because it would be the, well, there's one game there, but I don't know. That one's kind of lame.
What game?
Well, the the what you call it, that hover
The
ball.
hover derby?
So yeah, so then I could just have
Those two developers are the ones that said we don't need an issue tracker.
Really?
really.
Yes.
I it's amazing that they wouldn't have an issue tracker. I mean, I have a small project and I use issue trackers.
Right.
Otherwise-
For all of our projects that we work on, we have our own issue tracker.
Yeah, I mean, it makes life a lot easier.
And to think that your community, like, you know what they told me? This is what the Galen, the coder for Hover Derby, said. He said, well, you can just read the release notes. It's all in the release notes.
Yeah, I actually don't let my community post on my Jira, but I use it for myself.
Well, you still need to, but
I mean, most of the times, the customers.
but you're not making something that other people are developing on.
No. But if people find bugs, they send me, they send me a note card, and then I put it on there myself. And sometimes they just tell me,
But if I'm we were just recently working on this animation stuff, and there's all kinds of stuff that's broken in it and stuff, and we have no clue what is broken, what's not broken, what are they working on. But we're expected to fucking play with this new function, And
Here,
I
take this.
just don't develop like that, If I see shit like that, I'd be like, I ain't touching that shit, until they document it,
Wow, your note card, a lot of the same ideas.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, mine is, if I get the videos done for it this weekend, it should be on Marketplace.
Yeah, so if you see that I've got Quest ID, and then I've got a required Quest ID, so you could set up you have to do this quest before you can do that quest kind of thing.
Yeah,
Other than that,
that's what the previous quest.
They go in order, but it could be a quest from another NPC that you have to complete before you can even start, this other one, something like that.
And mine, the HUD keeps track of the previous quests you've done.
Yeah. I actually put all that stuff on a server now too.
Well, it's different. It's the reason I have it on the HUD, not on a server, is because customers are going to be buying this system, so they're going to create their own.
That's what it's for, to create your own.
Mine too. People create their own quests. Actually, there may be errors in these note cards because most of the note cards I have are ones that customers I can't get them because of work, and they ask me a note card. What happened was I was just saving that data in the HUD, and I could save 100 completed quest names.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I just cycled off the older ones and added. Well, it got too many.
Well, the way mine does is it saves in the HUD. Mine saves in the HUD for that day. Any ones saved in the HUD are dailies. If it's a non-repeatable quest, then it's saved in the NPC that this person has completed the quest.
Yeah.
So it's two separate. There's repeatable quests, which are considered dailies.
I have that too.
And non-repeatable, which.
Yeah. I did the same thing. You can my repeatable ones you can do once every 24 hours, and then I have the non-repeatable ones as well. The repeatable ones, was one of the things I added more recently because people wanted that. And I do have different quest types. Like if you see on there's a type and it says any. There's actually I can put in order, so you've got to find that any. You can find all the objects in any order. I can make it so you have to find object one before you can.
Mine it's just each quest can only track one type of object. So you have to
Well,
find.
technically, it is one type of object, but it can look different.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, in the script, it's still it's just a quest ID, that matches.
Mhm.
Actually, I can show you
And then I finished creating an API system because one of my customers wanted it.
yeah,
Where-
I have a sort of API system too.
Oh, this is fully, they can make multiple menus where they can access like a dialogue menu, and when they go through, it'll give them a request when they say a certain dialogue. And
That's that's the note card that will go in the item.
oh yeah, mine is just you drop the script in the item and you name the item. That's it. And you click on it and it gives you the item for that. I didn't get involved that much on the items.
Well, it's just a tiny little note card. It's about 3 parameters, basically.
Hey, did they say anything about like when the Animesh release was? I forget.
Nope, he dodged the question every time.
No, they're never going to say that.
They are super
When is
good at
that?
dodging that.
Well, I understand why they don't, because if they say, oh, next week, and then something comes up, then everybody's freaking out. Wait, I thought it was this week.
I don't know. I think, to me, it's if you've been doing this for any kind of length of time, you know that things come up and they change, and it's just, I just want them to be open about it. If something changes, just tell me something changed. I mean, what's the big deal? I don't,
Well,
my clients do that to me. I do that to my clients. It happens all the time.
I mean, they've said what the issues they're working on are.
They said they got the server scripting done. That's
They-
the good part.
Yeah, they're just working on this LOD thing and that
Oh, they are working on the LOD.
turning the.
They're working on the
rotation
LOD,
thing.
rotation, and bounding box.
Yeah, which is kind of part of the LOD as well.
I don't know.
But,
I would rather they
That's
not.
what I brought up, right?
I would rather they not give us an actual like ETA, because once you give an ETA, then you start rushing things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mine is.
Well, I don't know. Okay, this is the way I look at it. The lab is going to release this. The only way it gets any kind of traction or whatever is to kind of show off things too. So we need products to be ready when the release comes.
No, because I mean,
It's always better to have products ready. It is.
Look at
There's
when
products.
Mesh came out. Look at when Mesh came out. It was slow to.
Oh yeah. But,
Well,
now
but
now
Vento,
it's
they
everywhere.
did differently. And we had products ready.
But you got to think there are products ready already, because
Yeah, there are
any
products ready.
Bento mesh can become Animesh with one click, and
Yeah,
just
that's
drop a
right.
script in it.
I mean, workable.
Hopefully people don't do that.
But to me, it's about coordinating with, and to me, it's like handing a cookie to the people who help you develop it.
Well, like
And
they say,
this is the day it's going to come out.
Once it's
so
out, it's
ready.
going to be out forever. So
Yeah, but nobody gets the big push like at the beginning.
you just want to be first.
When they promoted my elephant, you wouldn't believe how much money I made on that elephant.
Oh God!
Oh, really? Oh, I know what you mean, because years ago they promoted my sim, and we've never been the same since. I mean, it's the traffic that day or that week. I mean, we were full all the time, and people waiting to get in just because they blogged about it.
Yeah, Lyndon blogs about something or promotes something. It is hot for 5 minutes.
Right. Well, no, we. I mean, it changed our business.
Yeah,
It was great.
5 minutes can be enough if you have a quality product. I mean,
people came, and then they brought their friends later, and then I mean, we were on a homestead at that time, and it could not handle the traffic, and then we ended up getting a full sim.
But that's what I mean about like these properties like Second Life and Sansar. They they only work because, creators are like us are willing to help them to,
Well, I had
make
an
it
idea on how. See, Second Life isn't being used the way it should, in my opinion. I mean, you need to go to these companies like Nike and
No, they tried that.
Adidas and say, hey, you could sell your product online. They click, they look at
They
the
did
shoes,
do
they
that.
like
They
it,
tried that. They tried
and
that. It didn't work because those
They did.
companies had no idea how to use
Right.
Second Life. They made virtual shoes and
Yeah.
Well,
you know,
it
The
worked
NBA
as
was
long
there, and
yeah.
it was. And Sansar, the first time I walked into their CES display in Sansar. It took me back to like 2007, 2008, and Sansar was like a useless build. It was like crazy how almost exactly the same it was.
I'm just really happy that with the things they're doing with Second Life this year.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, me
yeah.
too. I'm hoping we get some better performance. If you can get a whole mess of people on a sim and it doesn't lag the crap out of it.
Well, I figure when Bakes on Mesh comes out, and we filter out all these onion avatars that we have.
Yeah, I'm not talking about that kind of lag though. I'm talking about the sim lag that kills the script's performance.
Right. But how do you fix that? I mean,
Yeah, well, I don't know, but it's possible to do. Because World of Tanks had a game with 100,000 players on the same server.
Yeah, but there it's all their cookie stamper content. You're not having original content from
Yeah, but
hundreds of thousands of
it's not
sources.
network. It's not the network. The network's not lagging the sim. The content comes from a different place. Sim's not
well,
sending the content.
when I look at Second Life from a developer standpoint, what is frustrating for me is the limited script time.
Yeah, me. Oh, God, me too. I mean, so I have on my sim, I've got all these scripted monsters running around, and when there's a lot of people playing, then it's going to lag the sim just because of all the people and what they bring, and then
Oh yeah.
the monsters what they bring, and it's really this Animesh is gonna help that big time because most of my script time right now, like 2/3 of it, actually probably maybe 3/4, is moving the prims, is animating them. About 3/4 is
See,
time.
that's why I chose not to go with animated prims on my monsters because
didn't
of
work
the
with
severe
it
server.
floating around.
Yeah. I went for the more efficient for
they
memory.
have 3 frames of animation, but
See,
no,
but
I think
if
they
we
might
had,
have 5. Actually.
I mean, even like on my own, because I've owned a sim for quite a while, and just managing all of that within the sim and understanding what's creating all the problems. I had a scripter for 7-8 years, so all of his stuff is on my sim. He has a store there. He has tons of scripts running and stuff like that. So our server is like maxed out on script time, but I am probably I have unlimited prims I could use. I'm not even.
Yeah, prims. I got 5,000 free.
Oh gods, yeah. Especially with the new 30,000 limit.
Yeah. 20. We get 25, but.
But that's what I mean when they keep putting in things that limit triangle count. Because it's not triangles. I mean, yeah, there are people who make some ridiculously bad content.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's what I was saying. You got a good graphics card. A lot of people in SL don't. A lot of people are on crap computers.
Let's see here.
Well, there's a lot of bad content, but that a lot of that is due to directly Linden Lab's fault.
But I actually never worry about graphics lag. If you, I don't know, if you can't handle it, then.
Well, there's enough settings in Second Life to turn.
Lower your settings, right?
Yeah, it's if something's lagging you, lower your settings, de-render it, turn off particles, whatever's lagging you. You have the power to get rid of it.
Yeah,
you can't force somebody else to.
Sometimes, another thing that is that affects the sim is our bandwidth. Because we have all these moving trims, it sucks up a lot of extra bandwidth, and the default setting on bandwidth is nowhere near what it needs to be. Now, most people, anyone on Firestorm, I think, has increased that to max, probably, if they have a halfway decent internet connection.
You're probably destroying their
Since
how the heck did you get a million ACI avatar?
1.3 million, thank you.
Oh my god.
Yeah, all boxed out too for me.
Yeah, I had to render him.
Oh yeah. I have my set done what it is.
People hate this avatar. My complexity's through the roof.
Did you make it or did you buy it?
Yeah.
It's bought, but I made the lightning mod for it.
Oh, so it's a double avatar basically.
Mm-hmm.
So it's normally half that.
Yes, it's normally half this. But still, that's 650,000, I think.
Still a
Without
lot.
it, that's still high. Mm-hmm. And for me, I figured 650,000, 1.39 million. No difference there.
Why am I not seeing you in wireframe mode?
No, but you need to up your avatar height.
Oh yeah, well, I'm on the Animesh viewer, and I have no settings set whatsoever. And
it shows you as a plane.
Really?
Yeah. Well, there's something. It's like a box or a bounding thing.
Have you actually rendered him, or is he still jelly beaned for you?
Oh, he was jelly bean, but I turned on wireframe because I wanted to look at his wireframe.
Oh.
And I got nothing.
Oh, you don't get nothing with the...
No.
Oh, yeah. Well, you get a few faces. Yeah, it's one face. It's like a sprite.
Yeah, because I wanted to see if it was like...
Well, crank your complexity. Oh.
A ton of different...
Actually, the wireframe looks decent, actually.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have had that double layer.
Yeah.
Or
well, the reason...
quad layers,
It's only a double layer, so...
Yeah.
I onioned it.
I mean, actually, the wireframe is not as dense as I thought it would be. It's actually...
How are you seeing it?
You have to crank your max complexity up to max.
Oh, that's what.
Yeah, there's definitely some dense bits you could probably simplify, but...
Yeah, the teeth.
And the spines a bit.
The original is how many? 50,000?
50. Probably. Well, it's 1.3 million with that right now.
Oh yeah, those teeth are super dense.
Here, let me take off the lightning mod.
Yeah, let's see what it goes to.
Lightning body. Where's lightning head?
Squishy dragon.
384,000. That's still kind of high, but not
Still haven't got the
I
head
don't
off.
see it. I don't see where all the polygons are. How is that 1 million polygons?
Well, he had double. He had a London screen.
Well, now he's down to 400K. I don't know what's...
Yeah.
There.
Still kind of past the default like limit.
There, and now the head's off.
Jelly doll.
You are squished, though. Is there a way to unsquish you?
It's probably all in the mouth.
344. Yeah, 344,000.
There. Am I unsquished now?
You are unsquished. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm guessing if you like cut out the mouth of your lightning mod, you could probably lighten that up.
The eyes are way more dense than they need to be.
Right.
Oh, yeah. So I should take the head and just do the outer skin. Remove everything else on the head mod.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the
My
eyes and
lord,
the eye
why do they need...
sockets are,
yeah, that's a lot of...
Right, way more than it really needs to. Right. Especially since most of that stuff in the eye socket you don't see.
Yeah.
Anyways, I should get back to work. See you guys later. Next week for sure.
All right. Nope.
Yeah.
Okay. Later, Matty.
See you.
No meeting next week.
Let's see here. Edit linked. Oh, yeah. I'm going to have to actually re-import the head. I don't know if the... damn it, I don't think he has the head in the develop kit. Because the teeth are just a different face of the head.
So,
what happens if you just hide the teeth? Does that lower the ACI at all?
No.
How many polygons is it, you know? Just don't even know.
How many polygons? Actually, yeah, that's a good question.
I mean, you could probably see. Almost seems like you could use that for maybe Animesh. I don't think it's. No, if there's nowhere on the viewer that says that, though. Oh wait, no, there is. It's on the Animesh viewer. I'm not on that viewer because I couldn't get voice.
Where was it on the Animesh viewer that says the polygon count, though? More info?
Might be, or it might be on the general tab. I can't remember now.
General. Pathfinding.
Can't remember. Or it might actually be in a developer menu. If you go to show the avatar, what do they call it? The where that render weight is. I don't know where it is. Render. Oh, it's under metadata. Yeah, go to
Render
developer. No, it's under show info under developer, and then show render info, I think. No, that's not it. That's not it. However you enable, like, show the avatar weight, you know, render weight, whatever they call it now.
Yeah, no, that one shows the complexities.
I thought on the complexity on the tag, it showed the triangle count too on the for an Animesh. Enable Animesh on that one if you haven't. I don't know. I'm not on the Animesh viewer, so I don't know if you have. On the res one?
Yeah. Animesh, it's enabled.
Yeah. So it should show, when you show like the complexity, it should show triangle count there, I thought. I did it last week and I don't know how I did it.
Show info.
Yeah, it's not render info, I know that.
Well, I think I'm gonna go get some work done. Nice chatting with you boys.
Triangle count.
Yep.
There's triangle count.
What's that at?
It's developer rendering metadata. It's right under
okay.
LOD.
Oh, okay. So that's
yeah, the dragon's only 24,037.
That's not too bad, actually. That's without the head, though.
Yeah, that's without the head. I'd have to put it all together and see. Because this would be a cool one to have walking around the sim.
Yeah, well, big. Hard to script its movement, but...
Oh, I just use the avatar animations. Just write a script that takes the avatar animations and randomly plays them.
Yeah, but if you want to actually move it, yeah, but that doesn't move the, to move it and not bump into shit.
Oh yeah,